to go.
Right. Well, welcome everyone to our 77th Connect and Share, which is, it's got to be, well, it's definitely a record, but it's definitely also not one that I suspect was expected when they were first kicked off a little bit over a year ago. So we've got a couple of speakers this morning, Karen Jones, who's the Chief Executive at the Office of Sport and Rec, to talk about some active recreation grants, and Sarita Atkins, a Regional Tourism Development Manager from Destination New South Wales, who's also going to talk about some grants. So that's pretty excellent kind of stuff for us to be able to hear at the moment. I think before we go too much further, though, it'd be great to just acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we're meeting, adventuring, recreating, learning on. We're up in Darug, Gundungra and Wiradjuri country, and there's been people from those nations up here since before memory began, basically, and we're fortunate to be able to be up here doing those similar things to them, and we sort of recognise them as the traditional custodians of the land and would like to acknowledge their elders, past, present and emerging. With that, I think we might turn things over to Karen.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm not driving this thing, so I'm not sure if everybody can see me. Hopefully they can. Okay, I'm getting the big thumbs up from everyone. Good-o. Thank you very much for welcoming me this morning. And of course, I would also like to start today by acknowledging and respecting the traditional custodians of the land of elders past, present and emerging, particularly from where I'm attending today. I'm actually at our Narrabeen Sport and Rec Centre today. It's a little bit soggy underfoot, but it is obviously really beautiful country up here. And of course, I'd also like to acknowledge any Aboriginal people viewing this session. I first and foremost have to start by saying this is my first Outdoors New South Wales and ACT meeting that I've attended. I'm sorry it has taken me so long to actually get in front of yourselves, but hopefully you will be very pleased with what I'm here to talk to you about today. And hopefully it's not my only time that I'm here to talk to you, and hopefully I can be welcomed back sometime in the near future as well. Look, the reason why I am here today is to talk briefly about the Outdoor Active and Recreation Marketing Support Grant Program. It's a really big mouthful, but basically it's a grant program that's looking at supporting yourselves in returning back out of the pandemic, and it's from a marketing perspective. Now, the program actually opened earlier this week. And the program itself was part of a $25 million sport and active recreation recovery and community rebuild package. We do love a mouthful. And that package was actually announced back in October by the Premier, by the Treasurer, and also by our Minister for Sport, the Honourable Natalie Ward. Now, the component of that package that is relevant to yourselves, like I mentioned earlier, is the Outdoor Active Recreation Marketing Support Grant Program. And what that is, it's a $1 million allocation available to outdoor active recreation organisations such as yourselves to support you in marketing and promotional initiatives as the restrictions ease coming out of COVID, and to get people back into doing your activities which you guys run so well. We know that the outdoor recreation sector has had really extensive challenges over the past 18 months, and we're hoping that this funding will help yourselves to promote the diverse range of outdoor recreation activities that you all offer, and make sure that that offering is available to all people across New South Wales. Now, the grant program has a really short time frame for applications. The grant program is currently open, and it will actually close next Thursday, which is the 2nd of December at 1 o'clock. Now, I can't emphasize that time enough. It's a 1 o'clock hard close, so please don't leave it to the last minute to complete your application if you're proposing to put one in. Give yourself plenty of time to complete your application form, hit the submit button. Our computer system then checks and validates all your information before it then receives it. So you need to make sure you do all of those steps before 1 o'clock. If you are actually thinking about putting your application in and you don't actually hit that sort of data validation process until about 10 to 1, and you've missed something or something doesn't quite register in our system, you could actually miss out because of the 1 o'clock hard close. So please have that sort of drilled into your brains that if you're proposing to put in an application, the hard close is Thursday, the 2nd of December at 1 o'clock. Now, all of the information on the grant program is available on our website, and I know Phil's on the call today, and so hopefully Phil can put a link in the chat if that's doable. If it's not, then we can absolutely share that with yourselves so you can easily just click on the link and get all the information that you need on the program. Look,
Phil's
I'm not
been
going to
good
go
enough.
through.
Sorry,
What
Karen.
was that, Phil? Yeah, sorry.
I was
Sorry,
just
here.
saying, Phil's been good enough to drop that into the chat, and we'll make sure it gets emailed around
Perfect.
as well.
Perfect. Look, I'm not going to go through all the details of the program right now. There are guidelines on our website, so use that link and have a read of our guidelines. But what I will do for you today is I will run through some of the key points of those guidelines. And of course, we're happy to take some questions from yourselves as well. The first thing everybody always asks is, am I eligible? And what I can say is eligible applicants for the program are specifically targeted at outdoor active recreation organisations based in New South Wales. The organisation has to be a legal entity that has been registered for at least 2 years. Now, we do know that there are businesses that have started throughout the pandemic, but we wanted this funding to support organisations who were established prior to the pandemic and are now looking to bounce back as restrictions ease. And that can also include sole traders as well. Organisations have to be delivering programs that are providing moderate to vigorous levels of physical activity. And that's simply because we're the Office of Sport. We want to make sure that the activities that we're promoting and that we're supporting are aligned to our mission at the Office of Sport. And our mission at the Office of Sport is building active communities. So you'll need to demonstrate in your application about the services that you provide or the programs that you offer, how they actually achieve a moderate to sort of vigorous level of physical activity. Now, we do have some FAQs about the definition of moderate to vigorous physical activity within our guidelines as well. So if you've got any questions or need some clarity around that, go to the guidelines and have a look. Now, as I mentioned, we want this focus on outdoor active recreation sector organisations. And so as a result, we're not allowing any clubs or associations affiliated to any state sporting organisations or the SSOs themselves to actually apply for this program. This program is solely for outdoor rec providers. And secondly, one of the key principles of the program outside of driving demand for the sector is to increase participation in moderate to vigorous outdoor active recreation activities. So we really do have that focus. The other focus is on promotions that also specifically target women and girls and people with disability, our First Nations peoples, and also people from culturally and linguistically diverse communities. So how you might also be able to demonstrate how your promotional activities or how your marketing campaigns won't necessarily just target your return customers, but also look at a more inclusive offering or how you might be targeting some of those other communities to get involved in your activities would be great. You should also consider how your proposed marketing activities will reach those populations. So what sort of strategies might you put into place so that you can actually achieve and target those called communities or our Indigenous communities rather than just putting diverse photos out there, for instance. We really want it to have some sort of meaning if you can demonstrate that. Now, in terms of funding, the all-important question, how much can you actually apply for? So the bucket is $1 million, and in terms of applications, you can apply for an amount that's $5,000 up to $50,000. So as you can tell, with those amounts, there could be a lot of campaigns that we end up funding through this program. So we encourage you to be creative. We encourage you to really look at what it is that you can do with this money and let us know through your application. Another important factor is that applications are not required to have a co-contribution. So often with many of our grant programs, we ask the organisations to kick in some money as well. And we're not actually asking for that with this one. But if you do have extra money, not that many people do, but if you do have any money or marketing or promotional money that you can actually kick in, then that will be looked upon favourably, but it's not a specific requirement. Now, if you head to our website, you will be able to access the program guidelines. Like I've mentioned, there's also an information session video. You'll see me talking very much like what I'm talking to you now. There's also a frequently asked questions page that will provide more details on the program. It would be amiss of me if I wasn't to at least remind everybody that applications close next Thursday on the 2nd of December at 1 o'clock. So please, as I said before, have that drilled into your heads, jump on our website, have a look at the guidelines, and hopefully we'll start receiving lots of applications over the course of the next few days. I'm now just going to throw back to you, Hugh, and happy to take any questions alongside some of my colleagues who are also on the call as well.
Thanks, Karen. That's pretty fabulous. I think we'd have to be mad not to be taking advantage of those opportunities, especially at the moment. Did anyone have questions for Karen? Must have been a pretty thorough brief then. Look, just have a scroll through the chat. Anybody that's looking for links, there's some great ones that have gone in there. Thanks very much, Phil, for posting those in. And we might take a grab out of those and get them emailed around as well. So if nobody,
the only thing I'd like to add, it'd be really good for Outdoors New South Wales ACT to build a relationship with the department in lots of different forms for all the different things we do over time. So perhaps inviting people back would be a really good idea, and having meetings to maybe look at some of the other issues we need to fix in our state.
Thanks. I'll just jump in there if that's all right, Hugh. Thanks, David. I am pleased to say that even though I haven't necessarily shown up to these meetings in the past, I do actually regularly meet with Outdoors New South Wales, and in fact, I meet with Laurie regularly, and I think we kind of Office of Sport and Outdoors New South Wales had a bit of a hotline going there, particularly during the pandemic, at the peak of the pandemic. So we have a great relationship. It's just that this is my first time at these meetings. So, but absolutely take the point, the more and more that I can be across the issues, or the office can be across the issues that you guys are experiencing, the more that we can assist and help support you.
Well, thanks very much for coming along today, and I dare say we'll take you up on the offer to have you back in future. Well, if there's no more for any more, we might move over to Sarita.
Thanks so much, Hugh and Leslie. So as Hugh said, I'm from Destination New South Wales, and Laurie asked me to join the meeting just to give you an overview of what we've been doing as the road to recovery that we're focusing on now, and the kind of opportunities that we have through our different funding programs. So not all of them would necessarily work specifically for your operations, but there may be something that generates an idea for you, and they're all currently open at this stage, so they can all be reviewed. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen, and then I'll go through all of the funding programs there for you. As I mentioned, we have 4 currently, which are open as a collective. We have the Tourism Product Development Fund, we have a Regional Event Fund, a Cooperative Marketing Program, and also one that supports regional business event development as well, which I'll go into later. And I would also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we all work and travel through, and we pay our respects to them and their cultures, and to elders past, present and emerging. So the Tourism Product Development Fund, firstly, has two streams, and this is supporting regional accommodation renewal and also new visitor attractions or experiences. The two streams, we've got 1.6 million under our Refresh and Renew Fund to upgrade standard accommodation across New South Wales, and 2.5 million that will help the development of new experiences or attractions, essentially. So just to quickly go through the Refresh and Renew option with grants of 30,000 with minimum co-contribution of 15,000. So the minimum eligible project budget would be 45,000. The eligible applicants would include hotels, resorts, motels, private hotels, guest houses, apartments, caravan and camping and holiday parks, as long as they have cabins, retreats and lodges, backpackers, hostels, bed and breakfast. So we've kind of tried to do the overview of all the different types of accommodation that's out there. And one of the main important things there is that the applicants would actually need to have more than 10 or less than 100 rooms. These applications will close at midnight on the 9th of December. And then the second stream, as I mentioned, was the Experience Development Fund with grants of between 80,000 and 150. This will support the creation of new attractions, experiences, as long as they align with our strengths which have been outlined in our strategy, which is the Visitor Economy Strategy 2030. It's a two-stage process. So first option is an expression of interest, and then shortlisted projects would be invited to submit a full application. And the EOI will actually close at midnight on the 16th of January as well. The Regional Event Fund, we know events are a driver for destinations as well. We have 1.5 million available under this particular fund to support regional events, to potentially act as a cornerstone or a flagship tourism event for their area by attracting overnight visitation. We have three streams. One is the Incubator Fund. This provides seed funding for events in the first or second year of activity, and that will close on the 5th of December. Flagship event streams, which would be 2+ years in operation, and this is to support their marketing. An event development stream, the event would need to actually have gone through each of the other streams as well, and it's to support a strategic growth of proven events. We're currently, we've launched a full new brand marketing platform. And as a component of that, we have a cooperative marketing program to partner with Destination New South Wales, primarily local councils or local tourism organisations to partner with us in one or of the 4 packages, and tourism operators would generally be working with their local councils or local tourism organisation with this opportunity, as opposed to coming direct to us. There's a lot of options. As I mentioned, we have the consideration period at this time. So all the information is found on our website, and then we have an open and close period of 2nd of December, and it will close on the 9th. So just to talk through very quickly, the packages we are offering small buy-in for the first two, $2,000 per week to actually be part of the weekly offers promotion. And it's to sum up the destination in 4 different experiences or accommodation, food and drink, that sort of thing. We'll be communicating that through Facebook and Instagram between March and June of this year. The second option is a targeted social media campaign, and this would actually target visitors when they're in your region. So they would receive, they'll be served up the ads specifically once they're actually in that circumference of your destination, as long as the destination itself attracts more than 1,000 visitors. And then we go up into the next 2 phases with a much larger buy-in. This one is very suitable for the local councils who are focused on promoting day trips and trails and journeys in and around that destination, and it will target consumers within a 4-hour drive radius. This would be a minimum investment of 40,000, and as it's a co-contribution, it means that overall there would be a total ad spend of 88,000 from the whole budget, which would include Destination New South Wales, including an extra element for new images and videos. And then the final option is a high impact marketing campaign. This one, although I'm not able to actually list all the potential opportunities there, it will come through the EOI process and work with the strategic direction of that particular destination so that we can ensure that we are able to meet those KPIs. But it could include things like social media, digital ads, TV or outdoor billboards, as well as partnering with potential conversion partners. And that would be similar to, say, TripAdvisor or Qantas Holidays, those sorts of options. And the Regional Business Event Development Fund is the final fund that we currently have open. And there's 750,000 available through this fund to create, attract, or even support new business events. All of the application options here is open, and they will close on the 31st of January. The 4 options there you can see on the screen. For any of those options, if it's to attract delegates up to 150, then you can apply for 15,000, or over that amount, over 150, it will be 30,000 you could apply for. Interestingly, the number 4, this one also could take the form of small-scale infrastructure projects to support that particular business event attraction. Things like building AV facilities, commercial kitchen upgrades, disabled access bathrooms, additional power facilities, Wi-Fi upgrade, as long as it can demonstrate that it would enable more business through the corporate space. And then just to let you know, obviously we've got, in terms of following us, if you're able to use any of the hashtags or visit newsouthwales.com, that's our main website. We always encourage operators, and I remember speaking with Laurie previously about this one. We have a Get Connected membership program which enables operators across New South Wales to access the Australia Tourism Data Warehouse and add their properties, their listings onto that platform, and then it will pull through to visit newsouthwales.com, one of about 70 different websites that use that system. All the states of Australia would use Australia Tourism Development Warehouse to pull their operators through, as does Tourism Australia as an idea as well. And if you haven't done already, we have an Insights weekly newsletter which goes out. If you haven't already subscribed, you could use your phone there to scan the code, and you'll be able to then receive any updates that we provide to industry, whether it's a launch of programs, whether it's a launch of information, whether it's funding programs, anything that might be relevant to developing visitor economy across New South Wales as well. I'll just leave that there for the moment, but that's really the end of this particular presentation. Now, I was thinking about sharing with you our latest brand platform, just to give you an idea of how we're now working in that space. So if you just bear with me a moment, I will just get up my next presentation, as long as we've got time.
Heaps, yeah. That
great.
Sounds pretty great. Thanks, Sarita.
No trouble. So I'll just...
There's certainly quite a broad spread of opportunities in the in that last prezzo.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I know not all of it is relevant, but I think it, just to see the breadth that we can actually assist across the borders, I think it's a good idea to share that. And within that, there might be some nuggets, or even you may know other operators that you could think that may benefit from that, that may partner with you or assist you in that time. So all of that could be very useful. So I'm ready to share now. So very excitingly for us, New South Wales, we launched our new brand, and this has been, we haven't had one actually for over a decade. So this is a new brand positioning, which is at the core of our latest strategy. It's been a very challenging year for all of us, the industry and economy as well. So it's a way for us to build, inspire, and safeguard our resilience as well. It will enable all of us to deliver growth in visitor nights and spend, and turbocharge that recovery to accelerate our future growth, and ultimately on our commitment, which is to firmly position ourselves as the premier visitor economy of the Asia Pacific. Through extensive stakeholder industry engagement and consumer research, we've developed a brand strategy that will provide a foundation for differentiation, consumer messaging, and competitiveness in the market. And when you think about, one of the challenges that we had through our research was that when you think about our competitors, they each own and have a very established, quite single-minded positioning in the market, whether it's arts or food and drink, sunshine and the outdoors, or the promise to visitors to escape and disconnect. Our challenge has been that we hadn't owned any one thing, instead of having a diverse and varied offering which lacks clarity to visitors, but also presents us with such a fantastic opportunity. So for us, that opportunity is to take the fairly functional promise of variety and reframe it into a highly aspirational and single-minded emotional benefit that Sydney and New South Wales has the ability to energise you like nowhere else through its incredible collision of diverse natural wonders and vibrant culture. You can see where we've pulled out there for New South Wales. We have lots of growth areas as well as current brand expressions as well. But we've tried to demonstrate the versatility of our positioning for visitors. So it's about communicating this energy that lives with you long after. So off the back of the strategy work and through extensive creative process, October the 24th is when the Minister of Tourism, Minister Ayres, and the Premier launched our new brand campaign called Feel New. It's a clever way of bringing to life our unique promise that New South Wales will energise those who visit and make them feel new. But also it's a really great play on words, as you can see, to build on our already strong tourism brand. Just let me know if you can hear that.
Not terribly clearly. We might need to get you to share your audio, Sarita.
Oh, was it not playing?
Not terribly clearly, no.
Okay, well, what I'll do is I will put the link in. I'll put the link in just after I finish, and then you can go straight to the website that you can play it then, not through a virtual situation here. So that might be better. It's probably lost a bit there. Maybe I didn't have the sound up too long, but I every now and again we do have problems when we're sharing the video through this process. That's okay. I'll just move on.
So certainly, I'm probably the least qualified guy in Australia to offer advice on how to resolve the technical glitches there. Some fabulous images. I noticed a couple of comments in the chat, and a couple of very spectacular Blue Mountains canyons, amongst other things in there.
Oh, it's absolutely stunning. You're absolutely right. And like I said, I will, once I've stopped sharing this particular presentation, I'll put the link in so you can actually go straight to that particular TVC, which it's such a moving film when you've actually got the music playing there as well. So as I said, we've got that new brand for both New South Wales and Sydney, and over time, so come February onwards, we'll be producing another or sharing another 7 other at 7 other videos, which will focus on that experience of new feelings, adventure, freedom, belonging, rejuvenation, awe, connection, and joy. And we've really focused in on this as through the research. We know that everyone is eager to leave where they've been locked down, and need to have that connection back to land and country and culture, and that just collision of experiences that they can have through the experience of travel. So it's going to be an exciting time next year as we move through and start sharing more of those. I'll give you a few examples of some of the print assets that we have at this time, just to give you some. You can see on the screen there, Feel Lost in the Moment, Feel New South Wales. You can see the dance company there, feel connected to someone else's story. Or you feel the edge of your comfort zone, which is on the bottom left shot of the Grand Canyon in the Blue Mountains. As say that you saw that one on the TVC. So lots of really interesting imagery. And when we are launching our Sydney part of this campaign, you'll see the icons that are usually filmed, but just seen in a different way and through an experience, as opposed to seeing it as a static snapshot. And then we move on to the demand generation through all of our cooperative marketing opportunities, with the intention to visit and book very specific destinations and build that association between New South Wales' key experience and the travel motivators of our industry at this moment. So that's it in a nutshell. If you just bear with me a second, I will go onto our website just to get you that link.
Beauty, thanks.
No trouble.
I was actually fortunate to know some of the guides involved in the shoot in Grand Canyon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think I'm fairly sure Dan Lewis was involved in that one, and a number of the guides from Blue Mountains Adventure Company.
Fantastic. Right, just getting there now. So what I'm going to share with you is just the link to the Feel New Visitor brand page, and on that you'll actually have the link then to the assets, but also so the toolkits, plus also a look to see the actual TVC that I was trying to share with you, but it didn't come through on the audio.
Thanks, Sarita. I can see there in the chat now.
Great. There you go.
Fabulous. Well, we might just open it up. Any questions for Sarita before we move on? Going. Oh, Helen's got a hand up.
G'day, Sarita. I'm just wondering. I guess I'm just thinking of an idea and a possibility, like a regional women's trail run. Would something like that qualify as a
regional event fund? Would it be in one specific location?
Yes. Yeah.
So if it's a new, and you're considering it to be a new event, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, so for seed funding, the incubator fund would be the one to look at. Have a look at the guidelines that are on that particular fund, and it could support any number of different elements to get the event up and running. So it's not just about marketing, it could be about the infrastructure that you need to actually get that event off the ground. So have a look at that one. And in terms of the destination, just I suppose just thinking about how it will complement the destination itself and bring more visitors to the region whilst you're in that application process. But you can start a draft and have a look and see what kind of questions that will come up, but the guidelines should go through all of that as well.
Okay, great, thanks.
Oh, that's okay. Actually, whilst I'm online, I will go around and I'll put the link in for you, so you've got that. Okay. So just putting it in now. So that will take you to the page for the Regional Event Fund. And at the very top, it will have the incubator.
I can see that's gone into the chat. Fantastic.
Great. Lovely.
Be good.
It's good.
Thanks again. Yeah, and anyone else before we turn over to Leslie for the weekly update? Sounds like you've got the floor, Leslie. Thanks again, Sarita.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarita. And good morning, everyone. I've been a little bit quiet in the back there. Thanks, Hugh. I'm just going to do a quick wrap of the week from Laurie in her absence. So just bear with me. Okay, so we've had our two guests. Sorry, I missed that slide. So from Laurie, she's been working very hard on advocacy this week, as you will probably know. You've seen on our socials, we've put up plenty of things that she's done, where she's been. Channel 9, she's was on the 6th, Sydney Morning Herald on the 16th of November, and just recently this piece here on the 21st of November. So she's been working really, really hard in the background on all our behalves, and there's more to come. She's not going to give up. So hopefully when Laurie is back next Friday, she'll give you an update. But the newsletter will come out on Tuesday, so there should be some additional things from her there that she can tune in on. So thank you, Laurie, and we look forward to you coming back. We've talked about loads of grants for New South Wales, but there are some now for the ACT, which have just been launched, and they're for local business to collaborate and deliver new projects and strategies to attract workers. So grant 1 is between 1,000 and almost 10,000 for a single application, and you can provide cash as well as a contribution. Grant 2 is a larger one, 10 to 50, and in a single application, and funding is available on matched dollar-for-dollar basis, cash contributions only. And they're open until the 18th of February, which is a little bit more time for you guys in the ACT. And I'll send the link out to all our ACT members a bit later if you're interested, or if you want to talk more about that. And next week, we have got Skills IQ and Sport and Rec Forum, and they'll be speaking to us on our Connect and Share forum. So we hope you can join for that and answer any questions. So that's really it for the week from us. There wasn't a massive amount to share with you, but if you've got any questions or anything to add or want to have a discussion, we can stop now and take it offline, or otherwise we can have an early mark. How does everyone feel? No, we're good.
I noticed David said in the comments that he has some news from inside the outhouse.
Oh, great, David. Let us know it.
Yeah, I just want to good morning, everybody. David from up here in Queensland. On next Monday, I don't know the date now. Monday evening, your time, the 29th at 6:13 p.m. We're having another Hugh Sutherland from Lithgow TAFE. He's been running a recent industry survey about wages and conditions. I'll put the link to the survey in the chat shortly. He's been running that for about 2 to 3 months now, and he's now prepared to actually start releasing some of the details and some of the results from the survey. I think he has over 150 responses from across the industry, so not just outdoor education, but outdoor rec and freelancers and instructors across the nation. He's been promoting it through various social media. So inside the outhouse next Monday, Pete Smith will be hosting, and we'll be talking to Hugh about the ins and outs of that process and what the results are. And so we'd love to have you come on in if you've got the time or the interest to listen and talk about wages and conditions. It always seems to be
Thanks, David. That's I think it's going to be something to look forward to. I'm certainly planning to come along and create a great deal of confusion by having an extra Hugh there. I actually spoke with Hugh Sutherland yesterday, and I think he was at 256 respondents to the survey. So he's got a pretty good uptake, and it's really, really good to be able to have some information to help fuel discussions on the topic rather than assumptions. So really looking forward to seeing that one.
I just had a quick question for Karen, if you're still on the line, Karen.
I sure am.
Oh,
I sure am. Hi.
Hi. I'm just wondering, I guess, thinking about something like a women's trail run, if marketing funding for that, and then obtaining some other funding from Destination New South Wales for destination funding, whether the two could tie in together in an event.
Yeah, so we would need to have some certainty around the event.
Yep.
So, yeah, if you could provide that level of certainty, i.e. booking dates or, any other sort of contractual things that you've got in place for it, then yes, that's something that could be considered.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No worries.
Are we still on record or not?
I was